I always thought the Himalayas would be quieter. That's not to say I expected birdsong or the hum of cities. It's more that I imagined silence would feel peaceful, not oppressive. But up here, it isn't silence. It's absence. Like the world itself stops breathing when the wind dies. I've been stationed at Bonark Research Compound for 4 months. Though stationed makes it sound voluntary. It wasn't. I'm a microbiologist, a decent one, and my fieldwork at Amity Medical back in Delhi drew a few too many eyes. When they invited me here, it was more of a "you're needed for something classified. Congratulations" conversation. The base isn't even on most maps, half buried into a rock face, carved into the side of a cliff that overlooks a ravine. So deep it swallows radio signals. The only way in or out is via a service elevator built into the ice itself. And that elevator has been broken for 2 days. The day it happened, I was in Lab 3 doing routine metabolic checks on our cryogenic samples. The generator flickered at exactly 11:07 a.m. I remember because I spilled coffee onto my datapad, and Dr. Liang sighed like I dropped a priceless artifact. Then the intercom crackled, and everything fell apart. Containment breach detected. Facility lockdown engaged. That phrase means nothing until the steel shutters roll over the windows, turning the lab into a tomb, and you hear the klaxons wail like they're coming from inside your chest. We knew we had an organic test subject, something recovered from a cave wall 27,000 years old, something small at first. It didn't stay small. At first, we assumed it was procedural. There are dozens of false alarms in deep-bore facilities. Sensors misread condensation as chemical leaks, or air pressure shifts trigger security seals. But then came the screams, distant, muffled, echoing through vents, followed by the unmistakable sound of metal grinding and something wet dragging across the floor. We lost communication with control around noon. Liang tried the emergency radio, though none of us expected it to work past 20 meters of granite. I went to the containment wing with a flashlight I hated using. It threw a weak, cone-shaped beam that shook with my hands. The hallway still smelled of antiseptic and ozone from the sterilizers. The air was colder than usual, much colder. The first sign something was wrong wasn't blood, it was silence. No humming refrigerators, no rhythmic thump of the ventilation cycle, just air that pressed against the ears. Then I saw patterns on the wall. Frost streaks, no, not frost. They formed spirals, faint at first but curling inward, delicate like handwriting in ice. I touched one. It was damp, nearly sticky, and the metal underneath was warm. I remember whispering to myself then, something in Hindi about home, about my sister's rooftop garden, and how I promised to bring her back snow from the mountains. It's funny what you think about when you're scared. Liang told me not to panic, which is like telling someone not to bleed. We tried to regroup with the others in the central atrium, but the auto doors on B-wing were fused shut. He said it might be a pressure thing. I thought it sounded more like something melted through them. By dusk, we'd barricaded ourselves into the comms hub. There were 5 of us: Liang, Torres, Dr. Nguyen, a technician named Pema, and me. Pema was the first to hear the knocks in the ventilation ducts, spaced too evenly to be random, like something learning the rhythm of our voices. When we tried to track the origin, it always seemed to shift behind us. That's when Nguyen started muttering that it wasn't just sound, it was mimicking patterns. I didn't believe her then. I believe her now. By day 2, the heat was gone entirely. Our breath fogged the air, and my hands wouldn't stop shaking, though part of me couldn't tell if it was fear or cold anymore. Food wasn't the issue, and rations were everywhere. It was the power. The emergency supply said 16 hours remaining at low draw, but by the 4th hour, the lights pulsed like a dying heartbeat. We moved to the med bay because it had self-sustaining batteries. I took notes. I always take notes, even when I probably shouldn't have. It helps keep panic at bay. I remember writing, "Movement in camera feed 7 retracted when light focused." That was the last coherent entry before the screens went static. I can't be sure, but something on the feed moved after the static kicked in. Just for half a second, a shape reflecting light wrong, bending shadows around it instead of casting them. Torres made jokes to keep us sane, mostly dark humor about how he'd gladly freeze over being eaten. It stopped being funny when he disappeared. One moment he was sitting beside the med bay door talking about ration packs. The next there was silence, and his chair lay sideways, spinning slowly. No struggle, no scream, just absence again. After that, Liang locked himself in the infirmary. I tried to talk through the door, but he didn't respond. The vents above were whispering something like faint breathing or scratching. I pressed cotton in my ears. It didn't help. The nights and days blurred. I lost track around the 3rd power cycle. Some areas stayed pitch dark for hours at a time. There's no natural light this deep. I used my lamp sparingly, switching it off whenever I thought I saw movement. I learned the difference between seeing something and thinking you did. The first attacks you from outside. The second grows from inside your skull. The next sign came when I found Leong again, or what was left of him. His door had been bent outward, not inward, as though something inside tried to escape but couldn't fit through the frame. The walls were coated in that same strange spiral pattern, but deeper etched into metal this time, like melted weirwork. The camera on the wall blinked red. Recording failed. I remember whispering, "I'm sorry," as if the camera could hear me. Pema and I made a plan head for the cargo elevator shaft. If we could climb through the auxiliary maintenance line, we could reach the snow surface exit. That meant passing through Sea Wing, where the temperature sensors read -25°C. We layered our suits, but by the time we crossed the chamber, frost crept into my mask. That's when we saw it properly. The hallway shimmered near the far door like heat haze in deep cold. No exact shape, just a disturbance where the light bent, like something half real was moving between planes. It made no sound, yet the hair on my arms rose as if it screamed. Pema froze. I grabbed her wrist and whispered, "Don't move." But she panicked, turned on her torch full beam. The light hit it. For an instant I saw veins, black against translucent skin, shifting beneath an outer layer that looked like liquid glass. Eyes, not where they should be, but sliding under the surface, moving independent of one another. It blinked and vanished. Pema ran, I didn't. I crawled into a storage pod and stayed until my lamp died, counting my breaths, repeating multiplication tables just to focus on something human. I don't know how long I stayed there, hours, days maybe. When I came out, the hallway showed drag marks leading upward. Pema didn't make it. I think it took her through the ventilation ducts. I made my way back to the control hub, where I found one terminal still partially active. The log said, Specimen 1B containment integrity breached due to thermal fluctuation. Structural reconstitution observed. Phase transition mimetic. I think that means it doesn't just blend in, it mimics, learns, reforms. It's aware. I stopped going near the walls after that. Every time I brushed my sleeve against metal, it felt warm, like something on the other side pressed back. Now the air feels heavier. The lights flicker slower, as though the facility itself is tired. I speak softly, not sure who could hear me, typing these last notes into the backup archive that should upload automatically if the satellite link reestablishes. If anyone finds this, you'll know what happened here. I hear it now, the faint scrape above the ceiling panels. It moves quietly, like breathing reversed. The spiral patterns on the wall ripple as if drawn by invisible hands. I'm holding on to one of my gloves, the right one, torn when I tried to pull Pema back. It smells faintly of antiseptic and blood. I keep squeezing it when I shake. The terminal logs flicker, letters rearranging themselves on the screen, spelling something I can't finish reading because the power is dropping again. The only word I caught was familiar. The silence afterward isn't silence anymore. It's the pause before something speaks. I think it's learned my name.